Preventing truancy. Truancy tops the list of misdemeanors by our students. Almost every day, students are caught playing truant. Although it is not a serious problem, it must be nipped in the bud. Truancy means being absent from school without a valid reason. Students play truant for a number of reasons. Most of them play truant because of negative peer influence. They follow their friends who skip school. Financial problems can also cause a student to stay away from school, and that explains why students who play truant are mainly from the lower income groups. Learning problems is another cause of truancy. Students who find academic subjects difficult or boring would prefer to play truant. Some students who are addicted to drugs or alcohol will frequently be absent. The fear of bullying or harassment may also cause timid students to play truant. If left unchecked, truancy can lead to juvenile delinquency and numerous other negative outcomes. Youths who play truant have an increased risk of dropping out of school. School dropouts are more likely to be unemployed, as prospective employers are concerned about attendance of their potential employees. Regular school attendance is also important for academic success. If a student often plays truant, he may fail in his examinations. Students who play truant also have low self-esteem and become social misfits. To curb truancy, initiatives must be taken. Prevention is the key. Early intervention can tackle the problem. Students who often skip classes should be given counseling. Parents should check with teachers and school authorities periodically to monitor students' attendance. Police patrols will deter repeat offenders. Junk food. Junk food comes in many colors, flavors and types of packaging. Most of it contains very little nutrition. Some are in the form of drinks and others in the form of food and snacks. The drinks are usually colorful and contain a lot of sugar. These drinks can cause diabetes and hyperactivity. Many school kids are addicted to these drinks, and this has become a big problem to our healthcare system. Burgers and fries are another form of junk food that has caught on here. They originate from Western countries where the lifestyles need fast and convenient food that is usually fried and coated in sauces. These types of food, which include fried chicken and beef, usually have high salt content. This paired with sweet colas is a recipe for disaster. They can lead to obesity and heart disease. Other forms of junk food are preserved fruits. They usually come from China and are known to contain preservatives, artificial coloring and lots of salt or sugar. These preserved snacks are linked to allergies and cancer. Some food coloring can cause asthma. Almost all junk food is linked to obesity as it is high in carbohydrate. When we mention junk food, the donut is one famous example. They are usually coated, glazed and covered in chocolate, sugar and all sorts of unhealthy colorful toppings. They are not cheap either. So it is an expensive way to diabetes and obesity. Another worrying example of junk food that is widely available is candy. Candies of all colors and shapes. Flavors and wrappings are found almost everywhere. They are usually cheap and sold in places where there are children and schools. These candies are found to contain banned substances such as flavoring and coloring. Most are made from sugar and starch. Some have been banned by the Ministry of Health. In conclusion, we must educate the public of this huge threat to our health. The younger generation must be informed of the danger, and laws must be formulated to lessen the damage it causes. Honesty. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, Honesty is the quality of being truthful or being able to be trusted, or the quality of not being able to steal, cheat or lie. So, you can see what a good quality it is and how important it is for one to possess this quality. Honesty requires one to be truthful. So it is a good quality for friends to have. Friends must be truthful to one another so that there is mutual trust. Friends must not cheat or betray one another. So-called friends who cheat or betray us are not really friends but are actually enemies in disguise. Honesty must also be present in a marriage or the relationship will not last. Marriage partners must not cheat and have affairs with others. They must remain faithful to the one they have vowed to love in health or in sickness and during good times or bad. A child must also have honesty. He must be honest to his parents so that his parents will have complete trust in him. He must not do undesirable things that hurt his parents. He must act in ways that make them happy, such as concentrating on his study and avoiding bad company. Honesty is also important in an employee. An employee must carry out his work honestly so that both his employer and he, himself, will prosper. Dishonesty at work, such as not doing one's share of work properly or stealing employer's goods, will harm both the firm he is working for and he, himself. Eventually the firm will have to close down and the employee lose his job. Honesty is also important in a politician, although many people think that politicians are never honest. Voters can see through a politician's falsehood and not vote for him. An honest politician stands out as a shining beacon towards whom the voters are attracted. Although many people believe that no politicians are honest, there are honest ones. And these are the ones that are elected. An honest politician is important because when he is elected and governs the country, he will not mislead, cheat or betray the people who have elected him. He will not act in his own interest but will act in the interest of the whole nation. Dishonest politicians are the cause of most of the world's troubles today. From the foregoing, we can see how important honesty is in our lives, whatever we may be. Food. "You are digging your grave with your teeth," was the doctor's cry to his patient. It is just as true today that people damage their health by eating badly. This is because food nowadays can be obtained in different varieties. Food can become either too much or too little of a good thing to people as well as animals. Of course, it is not only the type of food eaten that affects people's health but also the amount and how they are cooked. Food holds a special meaning in many people's lives. It is not a mere substance to keep one alive, instead there is so much more to it. Some people eat food because they are hungry. However, some may find solace in food, especially when people are under constant pressure, anger or solitude. They usually vent their frustrations by eating. They will find anything from the refrigerator to fill their poor stomachs. Stuffs such as sweets, candies, chocolates and junk food become the victims. Food is a passion for people when there is a family gathering or during festive seasons. So food, as a matter of fact, binds the ties among family members because it is during this time that laughter, joy and sorrows are shared over the dining table. In our country, food seems to portray itself with utmost importance. We can find a variety of food among the multiracial people of Malaysia. During festive seasons, we enjoy ourselves with mouth-watering food. In fact, we are able to discover the customs of people by means of food. All kinds of traditional delicacies can be savored by the people of Malaysia. Food can be prepared in many ways. Some of them, especially vegetables, can be eaten raw. Food can be steamed, roasted, stewed or fried. Each method of cooking gives food a distinctive taste. Different people prepare food in different ways too. Food is important not only to humans but to animals as well. No living things can survive in this world without eating food. However, food can also be harmful to us if taken too much. We should know the right amount of food to consume, as well as the type of food in order to maintain a healthy life. Ways of improving discipline in schools. Nowadays, many people complain about the lack of discipline in schools. As we leaf through the newspapers, we often read about gang fights in schools, smoking among students, truancy and vandalism of school property. One of the ways of eradicating problems related to bad discipline in schools is to counsel problem students who create disciplinary problems such as habitual truancy, dropping out of school or bullying. By counseling these troubled students regularly, experienced counselors can encourage them to air their troubles and can then get to the root of the problem. Most of these students are emotionally unbalanced and have low self-confidence. By helping them recover their self-esteem and their self-worth, the counselors play an important role in helping them become more emotionally stable. Thus, they will be able to see things from a more disciplined and mature perspective. For students who are more hardcore, school rules should be tightened and strictly enforced to curb bad behavior in schools. Anyone caught committing serious offenses such as vandalism, extortion and arson should be given severe warnings and be put under surveillance. If this does not curb an incorrigible student from extorting from younger students or wrecking school property, expulsion from the school is necessary. This will serve as a reminder to other students that such serious misdemeanors will bring about dire punishments. Another way of decreasing disciplinary problems is to encourage participation in extracurricular activities. This will ensure that free time after school is well used by students. Through participating in sports activities, clubs and societies, they gain a sense of togetherness and learn good moral values such as cooperation, honesty, leadership and independence. This in turn means they will be more disciplined, take pride in their school and not cause disciplinary problems. Lastly, parental participation should be encouraged as parents are the ones who know their children well. School authorities should work together with the parents as much as possible to help improve the students' behavior. Parents should spend more time with their children to instill in them good moral values and a strong sense of self-worth, as students spend most of their time in school and at home. Teachers and parents can have either a good or bad influence on them, so it is essential that these two adult groups are themselves good role models. If all these steps are implemented firmly and fairly, no problems of discipline should arise. As such, the school can be a safe and conducive place for learning and students can thrive in such an environment. Keeping fit. Keeping fit in today's affluent society, we often hear of people suffering from obesity and various other related illnesses, such as heart problems. You would think that these well-educated people would realize the importance of taking care of their bodies and staying fit, but this is not the case. The benefits of keeping fit are many. First, there is the mental advantage of training our mind to be more alert and perceptive. Thus we can have a stimulated mind that is able to make effective progress in studies or at work. Then there are the obvious physical advantages, which include having a well-toned body and plenty of stamina, as well as the prevention of osteoporosis. Who doesn't want a nice physique? Plenty of energy that allows us to endure any physical challenge and strong bones, even as we get older. Of course, To be able to reap the rewards of keeping fit, we must first know how we can go about doing it. Life is so hectic these days for both adults and students that people get stressed easily. So the first thing both parties must practice is healthy work and study habits. Adults should avoid overworking so that their brains can rest while they indulge in some physical activity, like a quick game of tennis or a long session of swimming. Even reading a light book that is unrelated to work will mean less stress and fewer health problems such as ulcers and heart disease. Students, on the other hand, should avoid staying up late for last-minute cramming before their exams, as this can heighten their anxiety levels, which will then lead to sleepless nights and extreme tiredness the next day. They should know when to relax and to take things easy after a full day of studying. After all, mental health is just as important as physical fitness. Another way of keeping fit is to eat a balanced diet. Everyone should eat meals which have just the right quantity of all 7 food groups. Also, we should eat regularly and not indulge in too much of what we like to avoid gastric problems and indigestion. Then obviously, we need to avoid smoking and drinking alcohol, as both these habits are expensive and unhealthy, bringing about lung and liver complications later in life. Just as importantly, we should stay away from drugs as they can hurt and harm us. All in all, keeping fit is essential because it allows us to be physically healthy, mentally alert, and it prevents us from succumbing to the common complaints associated with getting older. Write about the benefits of a pastime which is popular among Malaysians. Malaysians enjoy a vast variety of outdoor activities and pastimes because of our beautiful weather. These include golf, tennis, football and jogging, but I feel that one of the best pastimes is swimming. I am myself an avid swimmer and can vouch for its many benefits. First, swimming can give us a great all-round workout, as no other form of exercise uses so many muscles in the body so fully. We exercise various parts of our body and become more supple when we do the different swim strokes. Our cardiovascular fitness is also definitely enhanced as we need to breathe well when we swim. Imagine the joy of dipping into a nice cool pool after a hot session of exercise or a hectic workday. Nothing is more exhilarating and comforting as the water makes you buoyant, reducing the effects of gravity by a whopping 90%. I weigh 120 pounds on land, but the buoyancy makes me weigh only 12 pounds in the water. No wonder people, especially children, love jumping up and down in the water and slipping underwater for a few minutes. Another benefit of this buoyancy is that the water literally supports you and takes the weight off your joints and allows movements that would otherwise be limited on land. Thus, low-impact and no-impact exercise is possible for people with minor strains and bruises or athletes with injuries who need to keep fit. In addition, swimming regularly improves our fitness. Apart from the fact that swimming has a wonderful massaging effect on our muscles and joints, research shows that exercising in water causes an overall 10 to 15% decrease in heart rate and a 10% decrease in blood pressure. This effect is caused by the reduced circulation of blood to the skin. The resulting increased return of blood to the heart and circulatory system frees blood to go directly to our working muscles. Last but not least, if you vary your swimming routine by doing all the strokes, crawl, breaststroke, backstroke, butterfly and side stroke, you are actually toning your body and sculpting it into better shape. And yes, swimming is certainly an enjoyable and beneficial pastime. I really enjoy swimming. It is cool, in every sense of the word. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of studying overseas. Though Malaysia now boasts a fair number of universities, the limited number of places means that every year, many of our successful A-level students go abroad to study. Those who have come back with overseas degrees cite various advantages in going abroad for further studies. For one thing, many of them feel that there is a greater choice of courses open to the Malaysian undergraduate overseas, whereas here, the student is often not permitted to do the desired course because there are too many people applying for it or because of the quota system. Furthermore, studying overseas means that students are separated from the comforts of home since they cannot afford the time and the money to come back every month or so. Being on their own without parents or the maid to attend to their needs usually encourages these students to become more independent. They learn to organize their time efficiently as they have to study as well as keep house and cook their own meals. On the other hand, overseas education often comes at great cost. Many families sacrifice a great deal and live frugally so that they can send their children to pursue their studies abroad. The students themselves might suffer initial pangs of homesickness and find difficulty in adjusting to a new environment. Also, there is the fear that these youngsters, unsupervised by their elders and mixing mainly with people their own age, might be easily influenced by the laxity of lifestyle which is so prevalent overseas. They might get hooked on drugs, be corrupted by strange ideas and eventually become alienated from their own culture. However, I personally feel that an overseas education is a broadening experience. Malaysians studying overseas get to meet, not only students of the host country, but also other foreign students like themselves. They become familiar with other cultures on a more intimate level and not just from reading about them. This allows them to compare the different lifestyles and ways of thinking. Thus, when they return to Malaysia, they will be more global in their outlook and not be so blinkered in their views. Besides, studying abroad can be enriching in other ways. Take, for example, the case of a cousin of mine who won a scholarship to New Zealand. Though academically brilliant, she was diffident in the company of strangers, but there, she took part in various cultural activities, such as International Night, to promote Malaysian culture. Gradually, she became more confident and less shy, and now, she has many overseas friends with whom she is still in close touch. In conclusion, I believe that, while a few Malaysian students may go astray overseas, many of our undergraduates abroad make the most of their experiences. Monthly tests and examinations are necessary. What do you think? I think most secondary school students in Malaysia would agree with me that monthly tests and examinations cause a lot of stress. However, we must not forget that these tests and examinations are part and parcel of our education system. No matter how much we loathe them, we need them to assess how much we have learnt and to evaluate our academic progress. Indeed, this is the main reason why any test is given, or any examination is held. Through a series of tests and examinations, teachers and examiners can gauge the academic ability of students. Students, too, can benefit as they will know their own strengths and weaknesses. At school, their teachers point out how they can improve their grades in the tests, and tell them where they have gone wrong in their answers. On a national level, examinations are administered fairly and marking is done without considering race, color or creed. Thus, They are the best measure of a student's academic ability and potential. Tests and examinations are also good ways to keep students focused on their studies because nowadays students face too many distractions. If there were no testing system at all, some students would laze the whole day. Others would probably learn, but this learning would be either haphazardly wide, or else focused on one thing only. This is not good as our future working lives require a variety of specific skills. Furthermore, with testing and examinations, students learn to be disciplined. Learn how to schedule their day and to compete with themselves and with others. Also, they have to think deeply, to write out their thoughts and to use their brains regularly. Thus, testing and examinations make studying more interesting and challenging. Man is by nature competitive, so having regular tests and examinations keeps students on their toes. They are forced into studying hard to perform well vis-a-vis their peers. To me, it would defeat the point of going to school if nobody cared how much you had learnt, or how well you had fared. Nevertheless, I realize that some students might not perform as well in government examinations as they should, because they happen to be sick during the examination period or they have just lost a loved one. Thus, it seems unjust to have their whole life badly affected by low grades in one examination. A fairer system of examination testing would be a combination of marks taken during the course of the school year and the final examination score. That way, students still learn for various tests and examinations, but they would not be too stressed because they know what they have achieved through the year also counts. For all these reasons, I believe in our education system with its reliance on tests and examinations. So, when people say, "Let's do away with tests and examinations," I say no because I really believe that they are necessary. The benefits of reading. A survey conducted a few years ago showed the average Malaysian only reads half a book a year. We Malaysians can pride ourselves on being progressive in many ways. But we can hardly be called a reading society. Many of us, especially students, only read because we have to, not because we want to. In our exam-orientated education system, we often read under pressure, rather than for pleasure. In fact, we seem to have forgotten that reading has various benefits. First, as young children, we can gain a certain indescribable pleasure which only comes through quietly perusing the pages of a good book. Reading excites our imagination and takes us to faraway lands. Through traditional fairy tale books and juvenile fiction, our need for a good story is fulfilled. Often, we are so engrossed with the characters in the story that we start guessing what the ending will be like. As we grow older, our reading tastes mature beyond these books, and we start reading literary classics. Reading good literature like this is beneficial because literature is a mirror of life. Through devouring the pages of a book, we gain new insight into different cultures the world over. We learn to analyze human character and behavior through the portrayal of different human relationships. This means we are presented with different perspectives on life. Furthermore, reading well-written novels teaches us moral values and takes us on a journey of self-discovery. If we think carefully about the right and wrong choices made by the characters, we acquire the habit of thinking critically and making wise decisions. This is, of course, part of growing up into responsible adults. Last but not least, a sustained reading program helps to improve our grammar and vocabulary. Through wide reading, we are exposed to many different grammatical structures and various writing styles. Without knowing it, these structures and styles are unconsciously assimilated and stored within us, so that we gradually enhance our proficiency. Besides that, we develop our own writing style and will be able to write more creatively. We learn to communicate our message to someone more effectively through the use of the right word or phrase. Thus, it is obvious that the reading habit brings many benefits, and the love of reading has to be instilled in young minds. Children should be taught that books can hold a world of amusement, excitement, and fascination. This will ensure that they grow up with an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and a desire to let their imagination soar.